Шановні колеги,
Good morning, dear colleagues. We start our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and I'll give the floor to Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Now, the information about the events that happened in the ATO area during the last 24 hours. In Lugansk area, the main military actions were in Popasnyansky region. During dark hours, the enemy repeatedly violated ceasefire, actively using mortars and APCs. Moreover, the enemy opened fire in Stanitsa Lugansk and also delivered 2 mortar shellings in Krymske and Novotoshkivske. Between 6 a.m. and 4 a.m., it was full lull at the front line, and on the whole, during the last 24 hours in Lugansk area, there were 13 enemy shellings, including 4 mortar shellings. The Donetsk area. The day started with heavy shellings, with the use of heavy weapons that the militants organized at the part of the front line, Avdiivka-Krasnogorovka. And during 2.5 hours, they launched 20 mines and more than 80 artillery shells at the Avdiivka production area. Also 120 millimeter mortars and 122 millimeter mortar caliber and 152 millimeter cannons were used. They were deployed in Yakovlevce and Donetsk airport. After preparations, they started firing between Ukrainian forces and the enemy, and these lasted for the early morning, and they were restarted afternoon. Also, at about 1 a.m., there were heavy shellings delivered by the militants in Pisky and Krasnogorovka. The fire was intense. They launched about 2 mines a minute at the ATO forces. During the second part of the day, there were active military actions near Gorlovka and Donetsk. After 4 p.m., the enemy started to fire with the use of mortars, and it lasted till late in the evening. And also near Avdiivka, the militants used barrel artillery of 122 millimeter of caliber. So during the last 24 hours in Donetsk area, there were 37 shellings, 14 with the use of heavy weapons. Mariupol area, from 1 a.m. till 3 a.m. in Mariinsky region at the part of the front line Krasnogorovka-Mariinka, there were also a number of mortar shellings. And then active military actions restarted during the second part of the day. In Shirokino, there were 3 mortar shellings, and near Bogdanovka, ATO forces repelled an attack of subversive group of the enemy. This military clash lasted for 20 minutes, and our servicemen succeeded in this battle. And the militants violated ceasefire along the front line. There are no calm areas at the confrontation line in Mariupol area. There are no such areas. So during the last 24 hours in Mariupol area, there were 34 shellings, including 7 with the use of heavy weapons, and also 1 military clash. Also, the enemy organized 2 flights of reconnaissance air drones in Donetsk and Mariupol area. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, 1 Ukrainian serviceman was killed and 6 were wounded. We express condolences to the relatives of those of the servicemen who died. Losses of the enemy. Yesterday, 3 militants died and 10 were wounded. Losses were sustained by so-called 3rd and 100th Brigade and 11th Regiment of Russian occupation forces. Also, the enemy continues to write off the wounded soldiers. According to the information of the Chief Intelligence Department of MOD, 5 militants from Russia, Avdyushkin, Demyankov, Kalugin, Kiparenko, Yamanov, addressed to Russian prosecutor's office with a complaint against their commanders of the 9th Regiment deployed in Novozovsk. These militants were wounded in Mariupol area, but they didn't get any money because they were not mentioned in the orders and reports to the superiors, and maybe their commanders just took their money for themselves. Also, 26 detached motorized brigade deployed in Dverdichev Iron Brigade, named after Danila Galitsky, deployed in Lvivsky Oblast, mark their anniversary. In spring 2014, this renowned unit defended Ukrainian-Russian border in Sumshina. Then 24th Brigade went to the front line, and they had glorious military way. They were fighting in Yapil, Zakitna, Slavyansk, Lysychansk, also survived shelling in Zelenopilya, also heavy fighting at the front line in Sector D and also in the suburbs of Lugansk and Bakhmutska Highway. So questions, please. Introduce yourself first. Good afternoon, Senia Dvornikova, 5th Channel. Do you have information where these servicemen were killed or wounded? It happened in the course of shellings. In Opatna, one serviceman was killed and wounded in Nova Alexandrovka, 4 in Avdiivka, and 1 in Shirokine. Do you have other questions or comments? If there are no, so this press conference is over. Thank you. Next.